you're looking for an idea for your next D&D character, you want a 5th level character that has amazing potential. You want something that is charismatic, and you want something that can really pack a punch. Paladin is usually a good option for this, but maybe you want something more. A little more pizzazz and way more spells than you know to do it. You want to be able to slay as much of the battlefield as you do with the other areas of the game. Well, I might just have the build for you. This concept is going to be a special one because there are 2 ways I would build this and can drastically change the way the character plays. For those of you who want to know what the build is before we get into the details, here it is. We are going to be playing a variant human paladin bard multi-class with a mercenary veteran background. The variations on this build are going to depend on which bard college you want to go with. College of Swords or College of Whispers. College of Swords is designed to be more of a frontline tank, while College of Whispers will be move in and out like a traditional rogue. Either way, you're going to be a heavily armored wall that can deal damage as well as great options for utility and support. Now that we have the concept in place, let's get to it. For the race, I wanted to go with variant human for the skill proficiency and the feat at level 1. You could honestly go with any skill, but I'm going to choose stealth to counteract the disadvantage I will get if I decide to wear heavy armor. For the feat at first level, Warcaster is always my go-to for frontline casters because it just synergizes well being in the front lines. With this feat, you have advantage on concentration saves when you take damage, you can cast spells that require somatic components even if your hands are full, and you can cast spells when a creature provokes an attack of opportunity for you, as long as the spell requires 1 action and only targets the creature. For stats, I'm going to put the 2+1s from our race into Strength and Charisma. Assuming you are using point buy, I would go with the stat spread of 14 Strength, 8 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 12 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma. Just remember, in order to multi-class between Paladin and Bard, you're going to need a 13 in your Strength and Charisma. For background, I decided to go with Mercenary Veteran for the Athletics and Persuasion proficiency and proficiency in a gaming set. The Mercenary background feature does have a lot of great mechanical benefits, but can lead to cool role-playing opportunities if your DM works with you. If your DM allows it, I would suggest taking up the optional class features from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything to enhance the abilities we already get from our classes. Our starting levels for the character are going to be 2 levels into Paladin for several key features for this build. These being the ability to use all armors and weapons, lay on hands, fighting style, spellcasting, and divine smite. Lay on hands is going to give us a pool of 10 hit points that bring people back who are dying, or we can use dry save disease or poison. For the fighting style, I would go with defense for a +1 to your armor class while wearing armor, or blessed warrior for 2 cantrips from the cleric spell list. We also are going to get some spellcasting so we can prepare first level paladin spells that we normally would not get from going into bard. And finally, we're going to get Paladin Divine Smite, which allows us to expend a spell slot to deal extra damage when we hit with a melee weapon attack. We start off by being able to expend a first level spell slot to deal an extra 2d8 damage. For every level of spell beyond first level we use, we get additional d8 of damage for a maximum of 5d8. Additionally, we also deal extra 1d8 damage if the creature is a fiend or undead, so that brings up the maximum to 68. Now that we have a good start, let's look what we get for going to Bard for the next 3 levels. You get several useful abilities regardless what Bard College you decide to go. These abilities being Skill Proficiency, Spellcasting, Bardic Inspiration, Jack of all trades, Song of Rest, and Expertise. Spellcasting is pretty straightforward, but since you're a full caster, you're going to get more spell slots than you get just going to Paladin. Bardic Inspiration allows you to use your bonus action to give a dice to your allies that they can add to a d20 roll in and out of combat. This feature also fuels our core abilities that we're going to get from our Bard College. Jack of all trades is one of the best features because it gives us half our proficiency to any skill that we're not proficient in. This even includes initiative rolls. Song of Rest gives us and our allies an ability to get some extra healing whenever we are able to complete a short rest. Finally, Expertise allows us to double our proficiency bonus to 2 skills we're proficient in order to make us just that much better. Now let's get to deciding our subclass. If I was going to play this character as more of a frontline tank, I would decide to roll into College of Swords. This college gives us additional fighting style and blade flourishes. While the fighting styles are limited to dueling and 2-weapon fighting, either one will give us more damage if we decide to dual wield weapons or if we want to go sword and board. Blade flourishes gives us the ability to use our bardic inspirations to add damage to the weapon attacks on our turns when we hit with an attack and add an additional effect. These effects being Defensive Flourish, which adds our roll to our AC until the start of our next turn. Slashing Flourish, which has our attack deal the extra damage to any creature we decide within 5 feet of us. Mobile Flourish pushes our target 5 plus whatever we roll of the Bardic Inspiration dice away from us, then we can use a reaction to use our movement to get within 5 feet of the creatures if we have enough movement to do so. These flourishes give us a lot more combat utility than you normally do and doesn't even expend any spell slots. The other option for this character is to roll into College of Whispers to be terrifying in and out of combat, as well as dealing a lot of burst damage on top of our smites. This college gives us the feature Psychic Blades and Words of Terror. Psychic Blades allows us to expend a Bardic Inspiration when we hit with a weapon attack to deal an extra 2d6 psychic damage once per round. And Words of Terror can make a humanoid that we're talking to for at least a minute terrified of us. We can force them to make a Wisdom saving throw and they will be frightened for us for an hour. However, this does end early if the target is attacked or damaged, or sees any of its allies being attacked or damaged. But this ability does reset on a short rest, so we can use them multiple times a day, assuming we get to rest between encounters. So how do these builds play at the table? Both builds excel at melee combat with Divine Smite with additional options to using a Bardic Inspiration on. Your levels of Paladin give you somewhat low level buff spells like Bless and Protection from Evil and Good. Your armor class is pretty high with heavy armor and the ability to use shield, so it will actually be very unlikely for people to hit you. 3 levels in Bard give you plenty of spell slots for smites and some amazing spells like Dissonant Whispers, Hold Person, Featherfall, Invisibility, and Heat Metal. Dissonant Whispers is the real star of the show because of my favorite aspect of the spell. If you didn't know, when you cast a spell, the target must make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, they take psychic damage and then use your reaction to move far away from us as their speed allows, without running into any obvious hazards. If you take a look at the rules for the attack of opportunity, you can see movement does not provoke attacks of opportunity only if you take the disengage action, teleport, or something else moves you without using your movement, action, or reaction. Since the spell makes you use your reaction to run away, the creatures will broke from you and anyone else they run past when they're trying to get away from you. So in a single turn, you can move up to a creature, cast Dissonant Whispers, and then have them run away from you. When you do take that attack of opportunity, you can either hit with a Smite-fueled weapon attack, or cast another spell because of the Warcaster feat. I've actually played a variant of this build, and I can personally tell you that this is a stupid amount of damage you can deal at this level, and more than makes up for the fact that you don't have extra attack. The College Whispers variant can even further amplify this damage using Psychic Blades, or just use it in place of Smite if you want to save your spell slots for other things. So the more levels you take in a Bard means a single Bardic Inspiration will start dealing more and more damage. The College of Swords variant does fall behind slightly in damage comparatively, but this version can be incredibly hard to hit with his flourishes and has way better time being in the middle of the fray. Either way, the potential for this character is insane whether you choose to stay committed to only taking more levels of Bard if you want to do more of an even split between the classes. Personally, I would probably go 6 levels in Paladin for Aura Protection and 14 levels in Bard to get all the subclass features. So, what do you think of this build? What would you do differently? I would love to hear what your thoughts are or builds I should attempt in the future. Either way, here's an inspiration for your next saving throw, and I hope you have a nice day.